What is up, y'all? Today is February 1st, and it is the first day of Black History Month. And I am working with Instagram to share my Black story. And as a lot of you know, my life has drastically changed within the past couple of years. Between starring in the film Give Me Liberty, which by next week will see how many Independent Spirit Awards we win because we're nominated for 4 of them. To modeling for Tommy Hilfiger Adaptive and Zappos Adaptive, to doing public speaking all around the country, to a whole bunch of other stuff. And with this new lifestyle that I'm learning to adjust to, I had learned a very, very important lesson recently. And that is a story that I'm going to share with you. And it will be the story of when anxiety snuck up on my ass. Now, here's what happened. Between the holidays and everything else, I had kind of a lot going on personally and professionally. And there was about 1 week where everything hit the fan. Literally, I was on set working all day. One day, I had built up anxiety from having to tell my job that I was leaving in a couple of months. Then I had a self-tape audition. Then I had to get on a plane to fly back home for my grandfather's funeral. Then it was my grandfather's funeral. Then I was constantly surrounded by just, people, family, and all these things, which I love my family, but it's just the idea of knowing a lot of people was around all the time, like constant noise, basically. Then I had to do another self-tape audition the last day that I was back home. Then I had to drive from Northern California, Stockton, California specifically, shout out to the 209, back to LA. And by the time I got to LA, I had realized that for the past couple of weeks, my heart had been pounding every time I laid down to go to sleep. And at first I kind of brushed it off like, no big deal. Like, I don't know, maybe I did a lot today. But like, it was every night. And I was like, okay, this is weird. So when I called the doctor, because I couldn't go to the doctor's office because I was on the road, they told me to go to urgent care. So I went to urgent care. And the thing for me was like, once I realized that my heart was pounding every time I went to bed, I realized it was something that I needed to take seriously because as a person with a disability, and no, I'm not in my chair, I'm on my couch because it's just more comfortable. I've been in my chair all day. As a person with a disability, especially something that affects your muscles, hello, when your heart start acting up, you may want to pay attention. So went to urgent care, and basically the doctor checked out everything. He's like, everything sounds fine. Everything seems good. Like, he was like, you are only experiencing this when you actually stop and relax. And I said, yeah. And he was like, do you ever catch yourself consciously needing to breathe? And I was like, yes. He was like, that's classic anxiety. And I was like, what? I've never had no issue with anxiety like that. Like, I've been anxious, but not to where it was happening to me without me realizing it was happening to me. And so he was just like, no. He was like, a great way is like meditation, relaxation, all these different things or whatever to kind of get yourself back in balance mentally, emotionally, and all those things. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So for the past couple of weeks, I had been taking my time, meditating, reading my Bible, all of these different things. But the thing that kept nagging me in the back of my brain was, how the hell did you let this happen? Not necessarily like blaming myself, but how did this sneak up on you without you even realizing? And so I thought about everything I was going through. And I was like, well, first of all, that was a lot of stuff. And the fact that it was constant and it was back to back to back to back was the first sign. that I didn't put myself first, my well-being, my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health first. I was so like, I gotta get this done, gotta get this done, gotta get this done, gotta get this done. It's gotta be done at this time. It has to happen at this time, because if I don't get it done at this time, then it's gonna be late going over here. And if it's late over here, then that's gonna affect my money. And if it affects my money, that means I can't pay my rent. And then if I can't pay my rent, I'm not gonna have nowhere to go, because I can't ask nobody for money, because ain't nobody else got no money that can pay for my rent. So that's what's going on in my brain. But in my head, I'm thinking that's normal. Like, okay, if I got to get shit done, then I just got to get shit done. I'm not going to have no excuse. I'm not going to have no reason why I need to stop. This is what I need to do. So let me get it done. Like, you know, all like, tell me when to go. Like, it's just like all gas, no brakes. That's the term I was thinking of. Like, it was basically all gas, no brakes. So then I realized, well, why the hell am I working myself this hard? Why do I feel like everything has to be done by a certain time? Everything has to happen by this day. And like, why is this anxiousness to do everything all at one time? Now, obviously, there's certain things I couldn't control. Like, what, I'm going to push my grandfather's funeral back? Absolutely not. But everything else, when I really looked at everything else I had to do, everything else I could have managed better. But for me, I wanted to know what was the root of it. And when I really, really dug into it, I realized it was an insecurity, an issue of self-worth. Mind-blowing moment. Because here's why. I was doing all of this work and putting all of this pressure on myself because I was giving everything else too much power and dominion over my success and my life. It was like, this self-tape audition needs to happen right now because I need to book a gig, because I need the money, because I need to pay my rent, and I need to buy groceries. And if I don't get this, then I don't know when I'm going to get my next audition. So I got to take advantage, and it has to happen right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. And then it was the anxiety of having to share news that I just wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. I was genuinely scared. So I was adding fear on top of giving other things power that ultimately, and I was giving those things power because I have always had an issue of feeling like I'm not worthy enough, that who I am isn't enough to be successful at what I want to be. So I have to work hard so the rest of the world can see that I can do this, that I can handle this. Which, in hindsight, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I know that there is a purpose on my life. The problem came in when the focus wasn't on my own talents and my own creativity and my own abilities. My focus ended up being on them. They. It's up to them. If they have to book me in order for me to be great. They have to hire me in order for me to be financially abundant. It was always outward things. And it was because I was giving the outward things the power over what is already inside of me, because I'm trying so hard to prove that these outward things need to see me. These outward things need to see how dope I know I am. Like, I know the kind of stuff that I create is some dope stuff. I know the message and the mission that I'm on is a dope message and mission to share with the world. I know these things, but because they haven't seen it yet in its entirety, I feel like I have to constantly prove to they that what I'm feeling is validated, which is not the way you're supposed to go about life, which is not the way you need to be going about success, because it was my creativity and my talent of making videos that got me to where I'm at. It's because of my authenticity and who I am that got me to where I am. It's because of who I am why I have the certain relationships with people that I have. It's because of my own life experiences that I'm able to draw from in order to create great content, to have something to say when I'm on stage, to have something to say when the video is on. And all of that stuff is rooted inside of me. And the they that I'm trying to get to see me, to validate me, ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They can't have no control of me. I have control of what I'm doing. God tells me what to do and I do it. So I'm trying to press they for what? So they can book me for a gig? When if I continue to do me, my me is going to pay off in the way that I see it in my head. They don't know what I see in my head. They don't know what I dream about every night. They don't know what I talk to my friends about every night. They don't know shit about me. All they see is a name, a taped audition, and whether or not they think I should be the person to be hired. But they don't know what my goals and what my purpose in life is. So why am I giving them power over the thing that I know I'm going to be able to share with the world and help change the world with regards to disability inclusion and entertainment and beauty industries? Why do they get the power? They don't know shit. You see what I'm saying? So for me, the ultimate, and the reason why I was giving them power was because I lost track of my self-worth. Because when I know I need assistance from others because of my disability and I don't get it, it triggers me. It's a trigger for me to get help or ask for help and somebody not come through. That triggers me. That's why I feel like I have to do everything on my own, because I can't depend on nobody when I know in my brain I have something to complete. Whether it's that day, that year, this decade, that decade, it don't fucking matter. In my head, I know I have a mission to complete. And if I ask you for help and you don't help me, that triggers me that you feel like I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then that fucks with my self-worth. And it fucks with my ego, truthfully. So I had to learn and realize that that was the root of the anxiety. That was the root of the anxiousness, that everything else was being put ahead of me instead of my own creativity. And it was blocking my creativity. When I was trying to work on my scripted series, and Get Your Life, because I'm working on one, I couldn't even think of anything to say. I didn't even know what the next scene was going to be about. I couldn't even, because I was so focused on, are they going to see me? Are they going to know? Da, 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 da. And so ultimately the lesson I learned is to always put yourself first. Even if that means everybody else got to wait. Even if that means that you might be late to something, or you might miss a deadline, or whatever the case is. Now, I'm not saying don't manage your time to purposefully, like don't purposefully do it to be vindictive. Like, well, I had to do this. So like, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is maybe it's about that time to wake up a little earlier, because you know you need to eat because you need to put yourself first before you leave that house that day, before you go outside into that world and have to conquer everything else that's going to come your way. Because you don't know what's going to happen outside of that door. I mean, I think with the tragedy of Kobe and Gigi is that thing, that very thing. You go out into that world, you don't know what's going to happen next. So you got to make sure that you are as centered and as calm and as chill as possible before you leave outside of that door. And so I wanted to, and so that's what I've been doing. So I've been eating because eating has always been an issue for me. That's a whole other video. But I've been putting myself first. I've been going to sleep a little earlier so I can have more time, so I know I could be rested throughout the day. I've been listening to birds chirp and streams stream every morning and every night. I've been mindful of what I watch before I go to bed. So I always watch something funny or something cute or something like lovey-dovey, because that's the kind of energy I like to be in all the time. I'm mindful. I meditate, even if it's for 5 minutes. Let's say I woke up late and I didn't get my full 15 minutes. I know I can't get my full 15. I'm going to at least get 5 in. So I meditate before I leave. And for me, my meditation just looks like sitting in silence and just listening to my breath go in through my nose and out through my mouth. I haven't really focused necessarily on anything yet, but my goal is trying to master just calming my brain and calming my mind. I'll eat something in the morning and then I leave. So that's my new morning routine, when before it was like, wake up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, wash your face, take a shower, do your hair, lotion up, get ready, whatever the case is, and bounce. No food, no relaxation, none of that. It's answer this email, respond to these comments, check your DMs, respond to your text messages, all these different things. Everything else was put before me. And I realized that is not hustling smart. You've got to take care of yourself first. And that's a thing that I know as Black people, young Black people, especially since there's this wave of entrepreneurship that the younger kind of Black community is really tapping into right now, that we want it so bad. And we know because we're Black that we have to work 2 times harder. That's just what has been told to us. But I really, truly feel that maybe it's not about working harder. It's more about working smarter and sticking to what you know. And sticking to what you know has worked and what you know is effective and that your creativity is good enough. There's always room to grow. There's always room to learn. But it doesn't make you any less worthy of anything if they, whoever that audience may be, doesn't see you right now. Stay focused on your dream. Stay focused on your vision. And everything else will fall into place. So that is my Black story. Peace.